So I'm going to come to you, and Farouk, with the question, do the big transfers always work? And this is based on the analysis that Jonathan Wilson did. It raises a lot of very interesting issues. We'll just look at the top 21 transfers, the most expensive in history, and I'm going to splash it. I'm going to analyze that with you and with the guys in the studio to see just how well it has worked. Remember that sitting at the top two, interestingly, most expensive transfers in history were done by PSG.
Yeah. Neymar and Mbappe.
So it's Neymar,
Mbappe.
and Mbappe.
Yeah.
And then the third, the fifth, and the eighth most expensive transfers in history were done by Barcelona. Well, it's no surprise that Barcelona are broke. Coutinho, Griezmann, and Dembele. And guys, it hasn't worked.
None have worked. In fact, they are shipping all of them out as we speak. So,
Interestingly.
So it's terrible, but none work.
Okay. So, Farouk, in your opinion, is that conclusive enough of the fact that expensive transfers in the last few years have not exactly worked? And if that is so, I think the better question to ask is, when do you conclude that a transfer has worked?
First, it's mixed results. I think it would not be fair to say or to conclude on a wholesale basis that big transfers have not worked, because some of the names dotted in there have worked very well.
So let's run through, guys. Yeah. I'll start. Neymar to PSG, has it worked?
It's a no for me.
Yeah.
I think PSG will still have won all those domestic titles without him. Yeah.
Because for PSG, the Champions League will become the main criteria.
Their benchmark.
And the same will apply for Kylian Mbappe,
I think Mbappe has worked because Mbappe has basically carried the team
I mean, without
for the
him,
past 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So that has worked.
Yeah.
They say that Coutinho's greatest achievement at Barcelona was scoring twice against them whilst on loan at Bayern Munich.
That's true. It didn't work.
So Coutinho obviously did not work.
Big no.
Yeah. But and the biggest beneficiary of that was Liverpool, because out of that they bought Virgil van Dijk and then they bought Alisson.
Yeah.
And it's worked amazingly for them. Joao Felix to Atletico Madrid.
No.
I think the jury is still out. I think that Felix has too much, but maybe I think the coach is also limiting him a bit. So
okay, that takes us to Jack Grealish, 100 million. Aston Villa to Manchester City. I mean, he's just won his first championship in his first season. Is it too early to make a conclusion on this? To draw a conclusion?
It's too early.
Yeah, but if you want to compare what he did at City to his Aston Villa exploits, those are two complete worlds.
But this is Guardiola, and he's restricted him to play in a particular
maybe
way.
One season is not enough. We need to give him the second full season to assess him.
Yeah, because he didn't do well last season. We shouldn't kid ourselves. He didn't do well.
That takes us to Romelu Lukaku. Transfer to Chelsea from Inter Milan.
He still ended the season as their top goal scorer, but a lot was expected of him than just scoring those goals.
So would you say,
I think overall,
for the value,
Lukaku himself knows that he didn't do well at Chelsea, and it explains why he wants to push back to Inter Milan.
Failure.
Ousmane Dembele, Dutchman to Barcelona.
Failure.
The treatment room knows his value.
Failure.
And well, I guess he's being shipped out. And then Paul Pogba's transfer from Juventus to Man United.
Total failure.
I guess the biggest beneficiary, may his soul rest in peace, been realized so long.
Total failure.
Total failure. Really?
Total.
Pogba, yes.
Because he left on a free. It's total failure.
He won some titles under Mourinho.
A lot was expected of him. I think his character, on the field of play and how unserious he is, it's just too infectious.
Eden Hazard to Real Madrid.
Another big failure.
So far, a big failure. When Real Madrid won the Champions League, he picked up the microphone and told them, "Next season is my season." As to whether he will get some minutes is another question altogether.
But guys, it's looking more and more like most of the stories.
No, but if we want to restrict this to statistics, then we will say that big names in terms of transfers have failed. Because so far, from the list we've gone through, it's just Ronaldo and to some extent Gareth Bale. Who are going to make a different story.
And Mbappe.
Okay, so this will be the final page. I'll skip Ronaldo, Man United to Real Madrid. Everybody knows it's perhaps one of the finest piece of business
the best
anybody's ever done. Yeah. Gonzalo Higuain from Napoli to Juventus.
Failure.
It didn't work out.
They won some Syria, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire, Leicester City to Manchester United.
Not good.
Yeah, why are you laughing? So the question is, has this worked out?
I think
Maguire.
just a few. Maguire, you mean as
Yeah,
in
Maguire,
the...
I mean...
No, it's
No,
not worked
Maguire,
out. It's
no.
not worked out.
Well, so there's Romelu Lukaku. So you have to understand that in the top 21 transfers, 3 of those transfers relate to Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah, it's
You know,
amazing.
it relate to Romelu Lukaku, and I guess
I think 2 of them went well.
Yeah. The Inter
which of
one
the
worked
two?
very
The
well.
Inter was
the Inter one
super.
worked.
Yeah.
Which other one?
The Everton to Man U wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, but it was just slightly above average, right?
Yeah, but it was-
And
wasn't
I,
bad.
I think he deserved to have stayed. I don't
So
know.
at the lower end, we have Kai Havertz,
No, okay, Champions
Bayer
League, but
Leverkusen to
still.
Chelsea, scored
Havertz-
Champions League
Havertz
winning
not
goal.
bad, not bad.
But Luis Suarez,
Suarez was fantastic.
Yes,
Romelu Lukaku against Man United to Inter
Inter,
Milan. We
this
know
was
that.
good.
it was a great move.
Nicolas Pepe.
Terrible
Oh
failure.
my God!
Terrible failure.
Arsenal fans do not want to see this.
So there's some unanimity.
Kepa,
Kepa
terrible,
Arrizabalaga.
terrible failure.
Yeah. I mean, Lucas Hernandez.
That one too was
He's been-
not too
he's
good.
been
He's been
fantastic
on the
to
injured
back
table for a while.
So whilst we wrap this up, guys, I'll come back to you and I'll ask the question, what determines whether a transfer has been successful? Is it the trophies? Is it how well the person plays individually, how well the person plays in the team, how the person improves the team in which they are transferred into, how they fit into the coach's philosophy, how many goals they score in a season, and or is it how many individual titles they win, for instance, best player among other things. And if a player comes and does extremely well, and at the end of the period the team hasn't won anything, does that mean that transfer has failed? Yeah. And then to Farouk.
Well, I think
What for you ultimately determines whether a transfer has been successful?
it's your work output, not the team output. It's your work output.
Individual output.
What value did you bring to the team?
Yeah.
Because if you don't bring value to the team, then you've done nothing. I mean, you can be like a hazard in a Real Madrid team. A Real Madrid team will win Champions League, but you know in your heart of hearts that you've done nothing. So it doesn't make you metals don't determine it.
So
it's
it's really
more your output, what you do, not individual awards, but how you improve. So like a Virgil van Dijk from Southampton to it's an improvement. An Mbappe to PSG or a Luis Suarez to Barcelona, it's an improvement. Or a Ronaldo from Man United to Real Madrid. That's what you talk about.
Not a Coutinho from Liverpool to
No.
Not an Ousmane Dembele from Dortmund to Barcelona. Farouk, what do you think? What for you is the
I
ultimate
think
determinant?
I'm tilted towards Yao's submission. It's not about the trophies. If it's about trophies, players like Hazard will be the best players in the world now. It's more about what you bring on board, how you contribute to the team's output. And so that's the biggest yardstick, because
So
you are
name-
bought,
name a- the
you are
most
bought with a lot
expensive.
of money, you are paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we want to see how you contribute to the team. You have to improve the team. You have to lift the team, because you come in as the marquee signing. I mean, the poster boy. Everybody is looking up to you. If you don't do that, and the small player in the person of I want to refer to the Real Madrid team. I don't know who to pick up, but
Vinicius.
Let's say Vinicius,
Yeah.
and the other boys are doing it. Whilst a Hazard is the one with all the experiences you're expected to do the work. I mean, then
Let me just ask you, do you
sure.
guys think, and I was asking Thomas Mortimer this, is there some vanity setting into the transfer, as we've seen over the last few years, where you know how people sign players, and we know that Liverpool are the best example of how to get it right. People sign players and fans go like, but these are still average players. We need, quote and unquote, a marquee signing. We need a statement signing. We need to show that we are a force to be reckoned with in the market. Do you think that has somehow gotten some of the clubs off track in their signing? They go after a big name signing, and as we've seen in the top 21 most expensive signing, it doesn't always work
I
out.
think that, you see, the big name signings have a certain effect in terms of the financial side.
Yeah.
Because once you sign a big name, merchandise sales go up.
And that's the other thing,
club
right?
values goes up. You tend to attract more sponsors. So you need that. You cannot run away from it. If you're a big club, you want to attract certain sponsors into your team.
Yeah.
And you need the big names too, because the sponsors want to be associated
Yeah.
with the big names. So you need to do that.
Farouk, your own man, Fiorentino Perez, doesn't weigh transfers only in terms of how well the player does on the pitch. It's very
you need
he's
to
very
recruit,
concerned
because-
about and we saw that with back in the days when he was doing the Galacticos with Beckham signing.
it's a commercial institution.
Yeah.
So if a player can give you two results: performance on the field of play, and his marketability is top, is up there, and you can leverage on that to get more money for the team. Why not? I mean, everyone will look at that option, and so if you are good at that, I mean, it should work for you perfectly, because in the long run, the bottom line too is what you are looking at. How much revenue you're able to make, how much you are able to raise to pay your players and sign, because every time players are asking for more money based on their own performance and how they are
players
being
and
attractive.
their agents.
Yeah, so you need to stay afloat to be able to stay in business, and it works that way.
Just a final point on this, guys, which is, the reflections and the justifications that are being given recently for players underperforming at clubs. And one of the things that keeps coming up is, he was played in a system that doesn't suit him. So Pogba, for instance, people have said he became a liability because they just couldn't find the best way to play him in the midfield. We've seen people say that, he didn't fit into the coach's philosophy, and the coach came and he just didn't see how much of a valid point are these things. And it's been used for lots of players who have walked away as free agents and all that, said, well, he could have been greater at the club under this coach or under that coach or under the coach who signed him. To an extent, is that a very valid point? Yeah.
I think there's some validity in that, but it also depends on how well the club is run. Because you see, clubs need to sign players and look at coaches and players in terms of continuity, not just in terms of the now. They need to look at continuity. And I like clubs like Bayern, because they don't just sign players based on the coaches. You need to have like a team who determines which player is to sign. So if it's a well-run club, they would get the players right. And Liverpool have done that in the past few years.
Farouk.
I agree. You can take Tammy Abraham, for example, when he was at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think he was doing quite well until the new coach came in and didn't find his value in his system, and so he had to fall off. But sometimes you can narrow it down to the player's attitude. If you pick Pogba and you look at him, when he loses the ball, does he track back?
Nothing.
Does he run back? What is his commitment level? So forget about the system. Aside the system, when you're on the field of play, how are you behaving?
How many coaches has Pogba played under?
Mourinho. He's played under
Ole.
He's played under,
just a little bit under Carrick and Ranić.
Yeah.
Those ones are not.
Carrick and Ranić.
Yeah.
And he's not exactly been
even in the
excellent
national
on it.
team now. Nothing extraordinary. So I mean,
just a final point though. Which club has messed up the most in terms of transfers, getting it wrong?
I think Man United.
It's not Barcelona. I mean, given how the cost.
The cost, if you look at the cost Barcelona, and it's trickled down to the financial situation that they are in now. So
and
maybe
it's surprising
Barcelona,
when they are touted as a team with one of the best academies in the world.
Yeah.
And in the long run, they get it wrong when it comes to personnel.
It seems to be a recent trend that they lost their way at some point. With the Dembele, with the Coutinho.
Yeah.
But they've been bailed out with some good talent from the academy. Xavi, Pedri, people like Ansu Fati are coming in, and they realize that the academy is even bringing better quality than the signings they are making from outside.
You start misbehaving when you have a lot of money at your disposal, don't you? When you sell Neymar, you get so much
I think
money.
that what happens, the general trend that happens is that teams tend to panic, especially when a big sale has been made from them. So you look at the way Tottenham panicked after selling Gareth Bale, went to buy 6 players, only one was useful, that was Eriksen. The rest were all rubbish and were sent away.
And Man United.
And Man United. So after Ronaldo, they didn't really do anything.
Recently, Man United is what's
and Barcelona after Neymar, they went to buy Coutinho, Dembele, it didn't work out. Yeah. So I think that you should need a clear head as an administrator and not panic.